Dragon Ball Daima introduced us to Warp-sama, or as he's known in English, Sir Warp. So, Warp-sama appears to be a giant goldfish. Don't call him a goldfish. Fine, he's not a goldfish, but he does seem to be a robot or some kind of artificial life form that looks a lot like a goldfish, because we get a certain part in Daima where Degesu shuts him down by simply pulling a lever. So even though Warp-sama has a personality, he's very sensitive to being called a goldfish, at the end of the day, he can be shut down by a lever. So I guess he is some kind of fishy android. Whatever the case, I don't think we're going to get much of an explanation about Warp-sama at any point because it's Dragon Ball and we generally don't get a lot of explanation about little insignificant things like this. However, there is something really interesting to discuss with Warp-sama, and that's his secret pin code. So that's what I want to talk about today, the secret meaning of Warp-sama's pin codes. As of the time of this recording, 15 episodes of Dragon Ball Daima have aired. And up to this point, we've seen 3 different instances where these pin codes have come up. The first time was right at the beginning in episode 1, when Degesu and King Goma were making their way to Earth. Of course, in order to get from the demon realm to the outside realm and make it to Earth, they need one of these pin codes. And the pin code that they provide is 0493. So what does this mean? Well, in order to figure out the meaning, you have to write it backwards. When you do this, you get 3940. So let's break this down. 39 means thank you, because when you say 3 and 9 in Japanese, san and kyu, sankyu, it sounds like thank you. And then the second half is 40. And of course, Dragon Ball Daima is an anime that's commemorating 40 years of Dragon Ball. So what this message is saying is thank you for 40 years. So this appears to be a message to the fans, and maybe even a message to the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama. The next time we see one of these pin codes show up is in episode 3. This is when Shin and Glorio and Goku are making their way to the demon realm. So they have to provide a pin code to Warp-sama, and the one that they provide is 8821. In order to figure out the meaning of this code, once again, we have to write it backwards. When you do this, you get 1288. So 12 is a reference to the age Goku was when Dragon Ball first started. He was 12 years old. And 88 is a reference to Masako Nozawa, the voice actor of Goku. She is currently, as of the time of this recording and the airing of Dragon Ball Daima Episode 3, 88 years old. And she sounds absolutely amazing. And then we have the third time that we get one of these pin codes. This happens in episode 7, and we get the pin code after Glorio, Goku, Kaioshin, and Pansy basically steal a military police ship. However, they need a pin code in order to get to the next demon realm, specifically the second demon realm. So Pansy calls this character named Peraru. And Peraru is basically a subordinate of her father, the king, and he's able to hack the ship and provide her with the code 1022. Now, this is a code that I was not able to find anyone online talking about, so I had to figure it out completely on my own. And the conclusion that I came to is that this is a reference to a specific episode of the original Dragon Ball anime. Why do I say this? Well, again, the code is 1022. I think that this comes from October 22nd, the 10th month, 22nd day, 1022, because on 1022, 1986, the 35th episode of the original Dragon Ball anime aired. And in this episode, we see Goku being hunted down by the Red Ribbon Army. In the previous episode, we saw Goku get on a ship. It crash lands in this snowy country. This character named Suno ends up rescuing him. And then in episode 35, we see the Red Ribbon Army trying to capture him. They're looking for him, but they don't end up finding him. And then eventually he goes off to Muscle Tower to rescue the village elder and defeat General White. Meanwhile, in episode 7 of Dragon Ball Daima, something extremely similar is going on because, well, we just had a plane crash in the previous episode, and then in episode 7, the military police is hunting down Goku. So I'm very confident in saying that 1022 is a reference back to this little portion of the Red Ribbon Army saga. Now, are we going to get more of these pin codes? I don't think so. I don't think Warp-sama is going to make a comeback, but I don't know, because as of the time of this recording, we've only had 15 episodes air, so we don't know how this is going to end yet. But here's why I think that we're not going to get more of these pin codes. I think that King Kadan is going to end up being the king of the Demon Realm, and he's not going to reactivate Warp-sama. And eventually, in Dragon Ball Super, if that's what it continues being called, at some point we're going to get more interactions with the Demon Realm. And I think that it'll be necessary to have free travel in between the Demon Realm and the outside realm. There'll be a lot more interactions moving forward, or at least for one upcoming story arc. I'm just purely speculating here, and I'm speculating this because Bulma has been very much obsessed with Magilite, this interesting element that powers the ships in the world of the Demon Realm. So it seems like we're getting strong indication here that there will be more stuff going on with the Demon Realm later on in the Dragon Ball story. And if that's the case, if there's free trade, if Bulma is providing ships to King Kadan, etc., then maybe they don't need the pin codes anymore, and they'll be able to travel freely in between all of the Demon Realms and the outside realm. But we shall see soon enough, because if what people are saying is correct, we've only got 5 more episodes of Dragon Ball DAIMA left. What do you think? Are we going to get more pin codes? Don't forget to subscribe, because I've got more videos like this. And of course, I'll see you in the next one.